Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Prakada Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vritesu Surabhir Abhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrahma Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Veram Kalvantam Aravinda Dalayatasham Bharhavatam Sam Asitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Aloka Chandrakada Satvanamanya Vamshi Ratnangadam Pranayakeni Kadavilasam Shamam Tribanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sarvujvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Parana Purusham Navayovanam Sha Vedesha Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastokoti Shatapaksara Sambragamyo Vayoratapi Madasobani Pungavanam Sopyasti Atrapada Sinya Vachincha Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Eko Yasaurachayatam Jagadanda Kotim Yachaktim Asti Jagadanda Jarayadantaha Andhatarasta Paramanu Chayakarastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yatha Bhavataniyo Manachasta Taiva Samprapya Rupa Mahima Shanayana Bhushaha Sukhairayam eva nigamam pratataistuvanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Adgani Chinmaya Rasapati Bhavitavi Tavirya eva nijurupataya kalavi Goloka eva nimisajya kilatma bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjanacharita Bhakti Vinoda Santaksadaivam Hridayeshu Vivokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achinchukana Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murta Shukada Niyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Akarot Bhaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Sabhavat Paramakumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Koti Shashesha Vasudari Vibhuti Vinnam Tad Brahma Nishkalam Anantamashesha Bhutam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Maya Hiyasya Jagadanda Shatani Sute Traigunya Tattvashaya Veda Vitayamana Sattva-valambi Parasattvam Vishuddha Sattvam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Prasamataya Manapsu Yatraninam Hanimapam Smaratamupetya Leelayatena Bhuvanani Jagatyajasram Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Golokanamni Nijadamni Kalecha Tasya Devi Maheshu Haridama Suteshu Teshu te te prabhavam vichaya vihitascha yena govindamadi purusham amaham bhajami Shristi sthiti pralaya sadhana shakti-eva Jayeva yasya bhuvanani vivarti durga Ichana-rupam abhiyasya tatesha Govindamani purusham namaham bhajami Kshiram yatadati vikara vishesha yogat Sanjayate nihitatag pratakasti hetoho Yaksham buddham apitata samupaiti karyad Govindamani purusham tamaham bhajami Deeparshireva kidasham tanam abhyupetya Deepayateva vritahetu samana dharma Yastadrikeva kishavishnu-taya vibhati Govindamani purusham tamaham bhajami Yatkaranardava-jale bhajati smayoga Nidramananta jagadanda saroma-kupaha Adara-shaktim avalambya param sumurtim Govindamani purusham tamaham bhajami Yasyaita nishvasitakala-matavalamya Jivanti loma vidacha jagadandanataha Vishnur Mahanshriya Yasya Kadavishesho Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Bhasvanyatamshma Sakaleshu Najesha Tejaha Sviyam Kiyad Prakariyad Tadvitad Vadatra Brahmaya Esha Jagadanda Vidhana Karta Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yatpala Pallava Yugam Vinidhaya Kampa Dvandve Pranama Samaye Saganadi Raja Vignan Vihantam Alamasya Jagatprayasya Govindamani Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Agnirmahi Gagadambo Murodishasya Kalastatata Manasita Jagatprayani Yasmad bhavanti vibhavanti dishanti amsha Govindamani purusham tamaham bhajami Yachakshu isha sabita sakala grahanam Raja samasta suramurti rashesha tejaha Yasya gyaya brahmati samrita kala chakro Govindamani purusham tamaham bhajami Dharmo tapapa tijaya shrutayashta pangshi Brahmadi kita pakavadayashta jivaha Tatrama prakata prabhava Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yastvindra gokam atavindra mohosva karma Bandhana rupa palavajana atanoti Karmani irta hitu kintu ja bhakti vajam Govindamani purusham tamaham bhajami Yam krodha kama sahaja pranayani viti Vatsalya moha gura gaurava sevya bhavai Sanchintyatasya shadashim tanam ahurete Govindamani purusham tamaham bhajami Shriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpa Taraho Druma Gomis Chintamani Ganamai Jayam Amritam Tata Ganam Natyam Ganamam Api Vamshi Priyasaki Chidanandam Jyoti Param Api Tad Asvadyam Api Cha Sa Yatrakshirati Shabati Surabi Vyasya Sumahan Nimeshad Yakyo Vavrajati Nahi Yatrapi Samaya Vaje Shveta Dvipam Tamaham Iha Golokamitiyam Vidantaste Shantashati Viralachara Kati Paye Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Nadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Auspicious day, the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Vinoda Thakura.
perfect for the festival of the Holy Name. Crown, put the crown on at the end of our event. In honor of Bhakti Vinoda Thakura, I'd like to say some things. Bhakti Vinoda Thakura achieved so many things, so many diverse contributions to the line of disciplic succession of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I remember one morning walk in Mayapur, very memorable. I mean, when you're thinking of a morning walk in Mayapur, based on what you see today, just imagine going back 40 years. And there was Prabhupada's grass hut by the gate, and there was one building. Didn't even have the long building, the gada. Just one building. And the devotees were sleeping in, anyway, mosquito-infested places. There was no place to take a bath. So there was a pump, one for the ladies, one for the men, and we brought our plastic buckets and filled up the plastic bucket with water, and like probably you do on your traveling Sankirtan parties sometimes, as bucket showers we called it. Except it was the same place every day, day after day, and so the place where the shower area was became a mud bath. Anyway, each morning Prabhupada would go for a morning walk, as was his practice everywhere. So his morning walk was off in the field, and it was just agricultural fields. So those of you from India, you know, there's a little narrow ridge of earth that rises above, the field, and over there is the field, especially rice field, so they have to fill it with water with one method or another. So there's this whole group of devotees traveling with Prabhupada along one of the little ridges, and most of us were in the agricultural field instead of on the ridge. And Prabhupada one morning became inspired to speak about Bhakti Vinoda Thakura. Like it said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Lord Chaitanya would describe Haridas Thakur, he would speak as if he had 10 mouths. So Prabhupada was in that mood. He just was glorifying and glorifying and glorifying and glorifying. Great Acharya. I'll just list some of the things. I can't remember verbatim what Prabhupada said. We were all wowed by what deep feelings Prabhupada had of high regard for Bhakti Vinoda Thakura. And there's a punchline to the whole message. Bhakti Vinoda Thakura appeared in India. This is his appearance day. He appeared in India practically at the height of the British occupancy, the rule of the British. And purposefully and systematically, the propaganda from the British was everything European is great, and everything from India is whatever the opposite of great is, rubbish. And of course, the pinnacle of India is its spirituality. And so they would trash the spirituality, like mercilessly and offensively, in so many ways. So in that atmosphere, Bhakti Vinoda Thakura took his birth in an aristocratic family, wealthy family, well-educated family, Brahmana family, and he went to school with persons like him, the Tagore family. Those of you from India, you know the Tagore family, and others who were elites of his time. He went to school with them. They were his friends. So he emerged from that milieu of negativity towards India. If you're an intellectual, you have to get with what the intellectuals do. You have to be politically correct. And you bash everything from India and you exalt everything from England. So he just did the opposite. In the midst of all of that, and at a time when generations after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and 6 Goswamis and Jiva Goswami and Narottam Das Thakur and Srinivasacharya and their follows, many generations had passed, and the deviations of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but then he established the correct understanding. So in the midst of all of that, everything Indian is bad, everything spirituality Indian is bad, and Lord Chaitanya's name was trashed. This very much in disrespect by cultured people. In the midst of all of that, he turned it around the other way. In his style of humble persuasion, intellectual strength, purity, deep faith, deep wisdom, deep insight, speaking in a gentle, persuasive manner. And great contribution. But not only from that, the rubble of Mahaprabhu's movement, respect emerged. The emphasis that Prabhupada was making was, in this morning walk, was he was such a visionary. We owe our existence today to the visionary spirit of Bhakti Vinoda Thakura. Very clearly, unquestionably. Because Bhakti Vinoda Thakura passed that on to his son, who passed on to Prabhupada, and to whatever extent we've received it, Bhakti Vinoda Thakura is revived it. He revived it from Mahaprabhu and the associates of Mahaprabhu. But it was dormant. It was rubble. And he revived it to the extent that so many things, the prophetic vision that Mahaprabhu's words, that and not only respect to Mahaprabhu, but at every town and village his name will be heard all over the world. And he believed it, and he made efforts to make it happen. One of the obvious ones is the book in Bangkok. And he saw the world should know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that vision that he wrote books about and so forth passed the spirit on to Bhaktisiddhanta, who understood his father's message as the message of Mahaprabhu. And he made his mission in India, but then very strong effort to send it all over the world. So much to say on that. But it was springing from Bhakti Vinoda Thakura. In the midst of the rice fields and the decay of the respect to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhakti Vinoda Thakura envisioned in writing, the day will come when Vaishnavas from all over the world, from Russia and Africa and China and all over the world, will come on the streets of Nadia and sing Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. I mean, who could understand that at that time? But he saw that. We can say, well, poetically, metaphorically, he saw that. But Bhakti Vinoda Thakura was such an elevated personality. Who knows what he saw? Who knows what he saw? It just tells, he's, especially when we say about Bhakti Vinoda Thakura, glories of Bhakti Vinoda Thakura, he, during this height of the British occupancy, took the highest position that the British award to the British is the High Court judge. And he was given the High Court judge position. It was never done. It's like never done. And they did it because he was so good. So good because he was so fair and fearless and filled with integrity. I could easily go on for a long time, and I want to not go on for too long. Just a couple of things. Just like maybe 3, 4, 5 grains of rice from the rice pot of Bhakti Vinoda Thakura's glories. Some of my favorite ones. Before he got to Jagannath Puri, he was named or appointed as a High Court judge in a smaller place. And in that smaller place, he was the High Court judge, but he had, by this time in his life, he had received Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And so he had become a Vaishnava, a Gaudiya Vaishnava. And in that place where he was the judge, it came to his notice that there was a tree in that place that people would go to and offer worship to the ghost in the tree. It was understood locally that there's a ghost in the tree, and in order to not get bad stuff happen from the ghost, they would go and make offerings to the ghost. Fearful. So Bhakti Vinoda Thakura made a very simple solution. He didn't have to. He was the magistrate. He didn't have to solve this thing. But he engaged a brahmana by giving him some dakshin, some charity to a brahmana, and asked him every day, sit underneath the tree and recite Srimad Bhagavatam aloud. You know, not with the Bhaktivedanta purports, but just recite the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam aloud. And the brahmana did that. He received his contribution so he could maintain himself. So he did that every day, and when he reached the very last verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, an upper branch of the tree broke, fell to the ground, and a voice from the sky came, audibly heard by those that were gathered hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam recitation, from the ghost, thanking Bhakti Vinoda Thakura for releasing him from the contamination that had befallen him for his sinful activities. But just from hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, now he was released. The ghost went away. And people stopped the activity of worshipping the ghost and began reading Srimad Bhagavatam, having faith in the power of Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a few others that are my favorites. Fearless, virtuous, stand by the truth. So, then he went to Puri. I'll just say a couple of others first, and this really big one. So, when he was in Puri, he wasn't yet initiated, but he was very fond of Srimad Bhagavatam, and so he would, in different circumstances, he would recite Srimad Bhagavatam. So one of those places, those of you who've been to Puri, you know of this place, the Jagannath Ballabh Gardens. A very serene place, even today. Not so clean, but it's serene. Not, it's away from the hustle and bustle. And he would go to the interior of the Jagannath Vallabh gardens and sit on a little platform and just recite Srimad Bhagavatam and discuss its topics. Because he was so respected, many people would come and hear from him. And his fame as a spiritual figure and powerful spiritual figure began to spread in Puri. Some people were envious. No surprise. And one of them was a Babaji, a very famous Babaji, named Raghunath Das Babaji. This is in Bhakti Vinoda Thakur's biography. So, Raghunath Das Babaji started doing the speaking bad things about Bhakti Vinoda Thakur. It's one of the methods of exhibiting envy. You say bad things, you fault find the other person. So his faulting was he's not qualified, people shouldn't go and hear from him. And the Babaji then became afflicted with a very serious disease that continued getting worse and worse, with high fever, and he thought he was going to expire. He had a dream. In the dream, Lord Jagannath appeared and chastised him severely. You've offended a great Vaishnava, Bhakti Vinoda Thakur. You should go at once. Even you're feverish, you can hardly stand up. Go at once, fall at his feet and beg forgiveness. Explain everything that you've done and ask for his forgiveness. The Babaji woke up. He went immediately to Bhakti Vinoda Thakur, fell at his feet, disclosed everything that he had done. And Bhakti Vinoda Thakur replied, my dear Babaji, according to Dharma, now this is a strict principle that Bhakti Vinoda Thakur followed, that before one is initiated, by the way, Prabhupada didn't do this, he was more liberal, but Bhakti Vinoda Thakur said, before one is initiated, one doesn't wear tilak and doesn't have kuntimala. And Mahaprabhu hasn't arranged yet for me to find my spiritual master. So that's why the criticism was he's speaking, but he's not a Vaishnava, because he's not wearing kuntimala and doesn't have tilak. So the Babaji then understood why he was doing what he was doing and understood the deep faith that Bhakti Vinoda Thakur had. And Bhakti Vinoda Thakur prescribed some particular medicine, and the Babaji was cured. The reaction for his aparad was gone, and Bhakti Vinoda Thakur didn't take offense. He gave him medicine to cure him. And from that time, Raghunath Das Babaji became a great appreciator of Thakur Bhakti Vinod. As the magistrate of Jagannath Puri, he would go to see Lord Jagannath every day. And there's a place, I've not been inside because this body wasn't born in the right place. They won't let Westerners in the temple. But there's a place in the temple, his biography described, it's off to the side. And Bhakti Vinoda Thakur would go there and sit and then speak Srimad Bhagavatam. And he would do that daily for some time. So in course of time, people would look forward to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Bhakti Vinod. So like a gathering place became a certain sitting place, a Bhakti Kutir or something like that it was called. So one time the king, with his whole entourage, came right through the midst of the discussion of the Bhagavatam and caused a big disturbance, like, here comes the king, woo, woo, woo. So Bhakti Vinoda Thakur challenged him. He became angry, transcendentally angry, not for himself. He said, but you're disrespecting the Vaishnavas and disrespecting the Bhagavatam. You may be the king of your domain, but you're not the king of the Lord. He's your master. And your disrespect of the Lord and his message is not acceptable. You have to show by exemplary behavior the qualities of a king. And the king accepted the correction. But the king was a little proud and a little crooked because he didn't have proper regard for the Supreme Lord. So in course of time, Bhakti Vinoda Thakur, being the magistrate, he was given an additional service of overseeing the standards of the temple. You're kind of like temple president. So one of the first things he did was, there were supposed to be 52 offerings. In our ISKCON centers we have 7. In Jagannath Puri, 52 offerings every day. Basically, as soon as one offering comes off, another offering goes on. And they have so many kitchens, and that had gone into disarray. It's a standard found in the scripture. The way that Jagannath is worshipped is enunciated by Lord Jagannath in the Purushottama Kanda of Skanda Purana. So this mentioned. So Bhakti Vinoda Thakur reestablished the 52 offerings. And he was also then looking after the accounts. And he found, by reviewing the accounts, that 80,000 rupees, which in that time was probably a lot of rupees today, whatever that value was, 80,000 rupees were missing. And he found out that the king, the same king, was responsible for absconding with, embezzling or whatever, the 80,000 rupees. So he's the chief magistrate. He gave a pronouncement that said the king from his own treasury should pay for the 52 offerings to Lord Jagannath. That was a very nice penalty for some period of time. In the course of time, the king's treasury became depleted. So stack all those things together, and he decided to try to kill Bhakti Vinoda Thakur. So it was a death plan. But he figured if I just hire somebody to go kill him, that, I'll get in trouble. So he had a different plan. And his different plan was he hired some brahmanas that knew the mantras from a particular portion of the Vedas. The Atharva Veda has a certain section of bringing destruction to others. So they knew the mantras, and for 30 days they were chanting these mantras and performing the rituals in a secret place, but the word leaked out. It happens. Even before text messages and Facebook, it leaked out that he was planning, that Bhakti Vinoda Thakur found that there was a death threat by the king. But Bhakti Vinoda Thakur just continued, worshipping Lord Jagannath and reciting Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting his Mahamantra. On the final day, when they uttered the final mantra, the king's son died. The reaction came back. It's like Durvas Muni sending the fire demon to kill Maharaj Ambarish, and instead the fire demon was killed and the Sudarshan Chakra came after Maharaj Ambarish. And there's other examples. So if the mantra fails, then the person who released the mantra becomes attacked. So the king understood. I've underestimated the power of Bhakti Vinoda Thakur. He was a mystical person. Very, very deeply devoted, unflinchingly devoted, completely fearless in the face of meeting challenges. So he's a Brahmana, but even in the role of the Brahmana, he was meeting challenges as a Brahmana will do. So one of the first things that happened, and in fact it was one of the reasons that he was appointed in Puri as a chief magistrate, was there was a fellow whose name, if I recall correctly, is Bhishik Hussain. Anybody recall from his biography? He was a tapasvi mystic yogi with long hair. And he would do things like shake his hair and fire would come out of his hair. And people would go, wow, he must be God. And he said, he was God, he was Vishnu, and Anantashesh was his assistant. And he was against the British government. He was saying, so the British government wanted to check the guy, so they sent Bhakti Vinoda Thakura to check the guy, because he was planning to overthrow the British government with his, mystic powers. And he was serious about it. He was a popular guy because he's, got these powers. So he started becoming unpopular because he started inviting ladies, and then they would talk about Krishna's pastimes of rasa dance, and he would pollute the ladies. They'd go back to their husbands and tell their husbands what happened. So but they were too afraid to do anything with this guy because he's so powerful. So Bhakti Vinoda Thakura he requested the police officers, the constables, to go and bring him to court. They were too afraid to go because this guy's so powerful. So Bhakti Vinoda Thakura personally went. It's a long narration, a little shorter version. He went along with his, the police officers, and he did one of his shaking his head, and fire came out of his hair, and Bhakti Vinoda Thakura said, this is tricks. He asked him some questions. I can't remember the detail of the conversation. And have you done these things? And something like, it's my Leela, was the answer. So Bhakti Vinoda Thakura said, you come with me, I want to have trial and to have a hearing on this and have evidence cited. And he defied Bhakti Vinoda, I forget the details, he defied Bhakti Vinoda Thakura, but finally Bhakti Vinoda Thakura just grabbed him by the arm. And they said, so it's my Leela, I'll go with you. Something like that. And then the fellow was put in jail, waiting for the trial. So while he was in jail, he was fasting, and he was uttering curses that your family members will die. And one of his daughters, because Bhakti Vinoda Thakura had 10 children, one of his daughters became extremely feverish. So the mother of the daughter, Bhakti Vinoda Thakura's wife, was pleading with him, release this man. What's more important, your daughter's life or this man being, checked? Bhakti Vinoda Thakura stood his ground and continued with the procedures. Then later he cursed Bhakti Vinoda Thakura, you will die. So he became feverish and he kept going anyways. And eventually the man was convicted. And one of the first sentences was to cut the man's hair, because he had this long matted hair. And when his hair was cut, there's something about, I don't know how it works, but a power of a yogi is stored in his hair. So if you want to be a mean yogi, you don't shave your head. If you want to be a Vaishnav, shave your head, especially the men. So when they cut his hair, he fell to the ground, just like, and within a matter of days he died in jail. Fearless. In order to stand by what is principle, and what to speak of transcendental principle. He gave his life to this transcendental principle of propagating the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the gift of the holy name throughout the world. Because of that vision of Bhakti Vinoda Thakura, here we are. So Prabhupada was going on, not saying all these detailed things like I just described, but yeah, there's another example of this. But he was just speaking and glorifying and appreciating Bhakti Vinoda Thakura. And when he paused, one of the devotees said, Prabhupada, He was so powerful, he could have done anything. So why he didn't personally take Krishna consciousness and spread it all over the world, and Prabhupada stopped, paused, and said, he left something for us to do. So there's something for us to do. And continue that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission of giving Krishna consciousness to others. We can't give Krishna consciousness, we can't give anything that you haven't yet received. So Bhakti Vinoda Thakura was able to receive, although it spanned generations, what he received from the 6 Goswamis and their followers. He had some association in his biography, describes with certain Babajis that he, in his own autobiography, called Siddha Purushas, perfected souls. And he would sit with them and hear from them. But they weren't engaged in the missionary, they were engaged in bhajan. And Bhakti Vinoda Thakura was engaged in Gosti Anandi, not Bhajan Anandi, for the benefit, out of compassion, as was Mahaprabhu, for the compassion of the world. And that's our line of disciplic succession. Specifically, receiving the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entitles us to receive the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And one who receives the mercy of Srimati Radharani receives the mercy of Krishna. You can't do better than that. Receive the mercy of Krishna. So how do you get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? The teaching is you assist Lord Nityananda, whose service is to approach the Jagais and Madhais of the world. And many of our devotees are engaged in doing that on Harinam Sankirtan and book distribution, and our various, using our politically correct terminology these days, outreach. I'm not supposed to say preaching anymore because it sounds too Christian, so we say outreach. Giving, extending the opportunity of Krishna Bhakti, whatever our capacity is, whatever our position is. One may be very, very new, medium, intermediate, you've been around for a while, whatever it is, whatever your position, extend Krishna consciousness to others, first having received it. This is what Bhakti Vinoda Thakura taught by his example, and he passed it on to his son and so forth, and here we are. And this is our family business. In the 7 purposes of ISKCON, the number 7 for all of the above is the printing and distribution of literature for the purposes of all the above, which includes the Harinam aspect and the training and education aspect and all the farm aspect and all of the other aspects. That's our family business. And I was thinking specifically on this occasion, a few of the devotees that haven't been here before were commenting to me that there's such a nice family atmosphere here that although this is my first time here, I feel accepted and, very comfortable and like part of the family, just like that. Just like that. And so on this occasion, this is an initiation occasion, here's Santosh, who has 2 sisters who are sitting right behind him. And that's a family within the family. Within the family. Within the greater family of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers. And have I met your mother and father? Your mother is here. Oh, how nice. Does she speak English? Okay. Do you know what Prabhupada said about the children that have become devotees and the parents of those children? Just listen. The history was, there are two brothers, Gargamuni and Brahmananda, and they both became nice devotees, followers of Prabhupada. Prabhupada met their mother. I don't know, mother and father, I think mother. And Prabhupada said to the mother, one can judge a tree by the fruit produced by the tree. So I can see the tree is very good. So we've not met, but I can understand from your children something about what your children have received from you. Not only they're devotees, in addition to devotees, they have wonderful qualities. They're, each a little different. That's nice. We're all individual. But nice, such nice qualities. So, congratulations. All honor goes to you for this nice service. If any one of you who are parents, and from your being parents, you can produce such nice devotee children, great tribute, great service, great service. Lots of great services, but if you're going to be a parent, that's the goal. Very refined qualities, very respectable in character, and very deep and dedicated in devotion to Krishna. So, I think what I'll do now is, before the initiation vows, it's an auspicious day, Bhakti Vinoda Thakur's appearance day, to take initiation vows and take the step of connecting with the disciplic succession before Haridas Thakur and Bhakti Vinoda Thakur and Srila Prabhupada and Kishore Kishori and our wonderful deities here and the assembly of devotees. After we have focused on taking shelter of the holy name, Sharanagati, it's like fantastic. So every year when you celebrate the appearance day of Bhakti Vinoda Thakur, your memories will be filled with auspiciousness. Krishna is very kind. So I'd like to take some opportunity for your two sisters and Nityananda Pran at least to say something or other in appreciation of your brother and his journey in Krishna consciousness. And Nityananda Pran's on standby. He's on standby. He's on a phone. He's not well, he has a fever.
Actually, I cannot even believe what is happening. When Santosh came for Premarasa's wedding, a few months later, Premarasa said that he started chanting 16 rounds. And it was very surprising for me. I said, how did all this happen? Then Santosh came to Chicago, and one time he said, he comes for festivals usually to Chicago, and one time he said, I'm going with Nityanand Pran Prabhu to seek shelter from Maharaj. Then I was really puzzled. I didn't understand what happened. And even this day seems like a surprise for me. He said, Premarasa told me that Nityanand Pran Prabhu told that he's getting initiated. And I couldn't believe.
Why not?
But all I can say is that I feel very fortunate that he's taking this shelter of you. And I just remember him like playing throughout the day.
He's blushing.
He used to like playing so much that at the end of the day, we used to have 30 flats where we used to live. And then at the end of the evening, used to go searching in those 30 flats where our brother was.
You're embarrassing him. Give them microphone to your sister.
I'm sorry, I was not prepared. I don't know what to say.
Okay. Something from your heart, that's all.
What I can think about is that when I came for her wedding, so that's when Nityanand Pran Prabhu requested me to chant, and then I started chanting when I went back to Hyderabad. But in Hyderabad, I did not have any devotee association. I was just home and then I was chanting. So I particularly feel for him that way, because in Seattle, I feel like he doesn't really associate with other devotees, but to sustain every day chanting and then cooking and then offering to the deities and then going to work and then coming back and doing everything is, for me, it's a lot. But then to do that year after year, day after day is very appreciative. So for me, that's very inspiring to see like how he is doing very nicely in Krishna consciousness. And also, I'm very, very grateful, Maharaj, for this step that he's taking. And also to you, thank you very much.
Okay. Well, the person that would be sitting over here where Namaruchi is waiting on the phone with a fever. Otherwise, he'd be here. We'll see if we can get him. Oh, you got... Hope the technology works.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj and devotees, please accept my humble obeisances.
I was going to say we could hear you very well, but something happened.
I would love to be there in person, serving Santosh in taking this wonderful step. It's very interesting in this family. I met Prema Rasa at Leela Manjari's wedding, and I met Santosh at Prema Rasa's wedding. And one thing that stands out for me about Santosh, that he's a very responsible young man, that and his interest in Krishna consciousness is genuine. That he went back to India, took up 16 round, offering bhoga and eating only prasadam when he had very little or no association. He had roommates who were meat eaters, but he never had a fight with them or argument, just did his own thing quietly. And over the years has come to a stage where he's now at your lotus feet. So I'll keep this short. One thing that is noteworthy about Santosh, in addition to being responsible, that when festivals like these happen in Chicago, he's the most sought after devotee, because they wait for him to come and engage him all day, from morning till night, and he's happy to do all services with a smile. So I'm very honored to have known him and supported him to come to this stage. Of course, his sisters have played a significant role reading with him on the phone, and helping him through different Bhakti Shastri material. So, Santosh, I'm very, very happy that you have come to Maharaj's shelter. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So we'll proceed. That was a much nicer sound than the other one. So you can come before Prabhupada and offer obeisances, please. Brajabhakti, did you even know Santosh from Seattle? You did? Uh-huh. You met him? Okay. Okay, so the vows for initiation before Kishore Kishori, Bhakti Vinoda Thakura and Srila Prabhupada. How many rounds you'll chant every day? Minimum 16. The rules that you'll follow. Okay. And for the rest of your life, you'll very carefully follow Srila Prabhupada's teachings. With Nityananda Pran's assurances, we're very convinced. Your initiated name is Sundara Nitai Das. So go back and sit down. I thought that would be the Sundara Nitai. There's a song, one of Bhakti Vinoda Thakura's songs. It'd be nice if you can familiarize yourself with that song. Sri Rupa, you make sure he knows which one it is. Where Lord Chaitanya gives to Lord Nityananda a license, a franchise license. There's a word in Bengali that's similar to what the word franchise is. And Lord Chaitanya says, you can open up as many places in the marketplace as you like, but you have to charge the proper price. The commodity is the holy name, and the proper price is faith. Some. It can be more or less, but some faith must be given. Then you can give the pure holy name. So that was Lord Nityananda's service on behalf of Lord Chaitanya, giving the pure holy name. People must give some faith. Okay. Go ahead. Begin. Oh, you didn't do arti yet. Oh, so do the arti. We have a little kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते रोमपाद स्वामिन् इति नामिने स्वाहा स्वाहा स्वाहा।
Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagadāmayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virodha Apasiddhanta Dvanta Harine
Siddhanta Dvanta Harini.
Namo Gaura Kishoraya
Namo Gaura Kishoraya.
Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye
Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye.
Vipralamba Rasambodhe Padambo Jayate Namaha
Ambudayate Namaha.
Namo Bhakti Vinodaya
Namo Bhakti Vinodaya.
Satchit Anandanamine
Satchidananda Namini.
Gaura Shakti Sarupaya
Gaura Shakti Swarupaya.
Rupanugavarayate
Rupanugavarayate.
Gaura Bhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannatayate Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhobhya evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Swaha 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 Namo Mahavadanyaya
Namo Mahavadanyaya.
Krishna Prema Pradayate
Krishna Prema Pradayate.
Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya
Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya.
Namne Gauratveshe Namaha Swaha 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 Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam
Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam.
Bhaktarupa Swarupakam
Bhaktarupa Swarupakam.
Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam
Bhaktavataram Bhakta.
Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Swaha 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 He Krishna Karuna Sindho
He Krishna Karuna Sindho.
Deenabandho Jagatpate
Deenabandho Jagatpate.
Gopesha Gopika Kanta
Gopesha Gopika
Radha Kanta Namostate Swaha 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 Jayatam Suratopangor Mama Manda Matir Gati Matsarvasvapadam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Swaha 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 Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpa Drumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishtadibhi Sevyamano Smarami
Sevyamano Smarami.
Swaha 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 Shriman Rasarasarambhi
Sriman Rasarasaram.
Vangshivata Tatastitaha Karshan Venusvanayar Gopir Gopinatha Shriye Stunaha Swaha 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 Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Swaha 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 Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Swaha 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Swaha, Swaha, Swaha. Okay, final mantra standing with the banana. Take the banana. And very gently, with the end of the mantra, you place the banana in the fire. Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha, Saha, Saha, Saha.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna